Let's shift our attention to China. Is China an unstable state? Is the Communist Party losing its grip? Are Chinese citizens angry with their government? Why am I asking these questions today? Because China is resorting to some extreme measures. Chinese officials have been forced to hire thugs. These goons are helping the Communist Party control the people. Let me show you some pictures. You may have seen them before on the show. They are from last month. These are Chinese citizens. They have been defrauded. Hundreds of them lost their bank deposits. So they launched a massive protest. In these images, it may look like the protesters are fighting each other, but they're not. Look closely. You'll see a group of men in plain clothes pushing the protesters around, pulling them by their clothes and beating them up. These men are thugs, reportedly hired by Chinese officials. We have more videos. Take a look at this one. There were cops in uniform at this protest, but they stood by and watched as goons went after the protesters. Reports say local Communist Party officials hired these thugs, and this was not their first gig. They've been used in the past for forced evictions and the demolition of homes. China has the biggest internal security apparatus in the world. A lot of you may not know this, but Beijing spends more on internal security than on defense. And yet they feel the need to hire thugs. Why does the government deploy non-state actors to reinforce power? Does the Communist Party feel threatened? Experts say we could see a more unstable China in the near future, and they give two reasons for that. Number one, the out-of-control health situation. China has failed to control the Wuhan virus. Zero COVID has had zero success. Reason number two, the economic situation. People have lost money. The property sector is ailing. Bad debts in banks are growing. China is failing on both fronts, health and economy, and people are angry. Let's talk about zero COVID in detail. As we speak, 80,000 people remain trapped in Sanya. This is a beach city in China. Now, Sanya is known as China's Hawaii. These people went there for a holiday. They're now trapped in a nightmare. And that's because of the Wuhan virus. Chinese authorities have detected more than 1,000 cases, so they've slapped zero COVID rules. All 80,000 tourists are under lockdown, and every one of them must be tested. The result is this.
我手也不行啊！我现在是立马能保证我出去是还是立马的。非常理解大家的这个难处啊！我现在是立马出去，能不能保证还是立马？那么市委市政府也在抓紧研究，想办法解决大家的问题。
And this is not an isolated case. Millions of people are locked down in China. There are 5 new hotspots: Tibet, Hainan, Xinjiang, Inner Mongolia and Guangdong, all suffering from zero COVID, a policy that has brought China's economy to a grinding halt, a policy that Chinese citizens are fighting back. In the month of April, a major protest broke out in Shanghai. The city was going through its worst Wuhan virus outbreak. More than 25 million people were put under a lockdown. Some of them lost their patience and took to the streets. Zero COVID triggered public anger. China's floundering economy is making things worse. The mortgage boycott is getting bigger. We've told you about this earlier. Thousands of Chinese citizens have stopped paying their EMIs. They haven't got the homes they bought. The developers did not complete the construction, so the buyers are not paying the mortgages. The boycott began with a few towns. It has now spread to nearly 100 cities. How many projects are facing a boycott? More than 320. China's economic woes have sparked social unrest, and it's getting worse. Unemployment is growing at an alarming rate. Young Chinese citizens cannot find jobs. I have some data. 1 out of 5 Chinese citizens is unemployed. This is in the 16 to 24 age group. China is already in recession. The GDP is shrinking. Beijing has officially reported a contraction of 2.6%. So people have lost have, in fact, a lot to be upset about. Draconian lockdowns, lack of jobs, failing banks, cheating by property developers, and a vicious crackdown by the Chinese state. The protests are getting bigger, and the Chinese state machinery is unable to crush them, which explains the need to hire thugs. But as they say, when it rains, it pours. China has a new virus to deal with. Not making this up. A new virus in China that has jumped from animals to humans. It is called the Langya virus. It was detected in eastern China. So far, 35 people have tested positive. The symptoms are quite similar to the Wuhan virus: fever, cough, fatigue, nausea, headaches, and vomiting. Authorities say there is no human-to-human transmission yet. Chinese authorities, so take it with a pinch of salt. Researchers say the Langya virus is usually found in shrews. Experts say there's no need to panic yet, but with the Communist Party in charge, you can take nothing for granted. Our sympathies with the people of China. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.